Hello Destiny fans and welcome back to another review video. This one is going to be about the exotic hand cannon known as the Thorn. Probably one of the trickiest ones to get in the game depending on your method of acquiring it. Alright, first up is the damage type, and that is this weapon is kinetic based. No elemental damage here. But don't worry, there is a unique element about this gun that is interesting, that does do damage. We'll get to that in a second. First up is the cauterized basilisk. I apologize. I missaid that. I know. I'm just not good with words. But anyway, this one improves range and impact and is the default selected item in the first tier. Underneath that is the field choke, which is what I've selected, which gives it its current stats right now, minus the stability changes right here. That's what it looks like when you just have the field choke. Really nice, increased recoil a little bit, but not too bad. I like the increased range and impact. Next up is the aggressive basilisk. More predictable recoil, greatly enhanced impact. Definitely has smarter range of control, but it does reduce the range of the weapon, unfortunately, which does not okay with me. Now, the second tier of this is known as the final round, which basically is what it sounds like, the final round in the magazine. It basically relates to when you got one shot left in your magazine, it will do additional damage. That's really handy, especially since this kind of weapon pretty much over-penetrates naturally and will hit multiple targets what's behind it. Next up on the list is a damage upgrade, that's the third tier. And then after that is our first one, which is Snapshot, which basically allows you to aim this weapon quicker. That doesn't sound like much, but if you're one of those quick snapshot kind of guys or girls, then this is the kind of thing for you. Let me demonstrate the aiming process real quick with my Warlock here. Alright. As you can see, this is the current aiming process. I am rapidly hitting the trigger all from the out and in. Now to demonstrate what it looks like when you have this equipped. Now Snapshot, which reduces the stability of the weapon greatly, does this. Not bad, right? That's pretty fast. I have not changed the rate of my finger at all. That actually is what it looks like. Next up on this list is the second part of this tier, and that's increased range and accuracy, which just gives you a better control of the weapon, especially if you prefer sniping from distance shots. Hand cannons are kind of like snipers almost. They do lose, not quite, because they do lose a lot of range, but you'll have the idea if you get this gun. Now the final selection on this one is the third tier, and that's the perfect balance, which is my favorite selection. It increases the stability of this gun. Without this stability, it kind of fires a little hard control. Look at that kickback. You see how much I went up on loading that entire clip? Now let me attach the stability thing on real quick. Not as severe. Look at that. Really nice, right? That's why I like the stability. A little extra stability can give you better control of this weapon for its most unique upgrade, the Mark of the Devourer. Sounds pretty demonic, doesn't it? Well, it does have quite a demonic trait to it. And that trait is basically every round you shoot off of this thing basically causes damage over time. What does that mean? Well, let me demonstrate with some of the very unlucky NPCs below me. Hey, Vandal. As you can see, he's burning to death. Pretty cool though, right? Not bad effect. Body shots could really keep it in. This is very handy for keeping shield enemies down while you reload your weapon. Really nice. One of the most devastating features to have on this gun, especially in Crucible matches. Now that is a bit different though, because in the Crucible matches, depending on the person's armor and stat setups, this thing can kill somewhere between 2 shots to 3 shots. 2 shots plus the burn effect, or just 3 shots to the head, which is still a pretty powerful gun. Basically saying if you're a quick shot, you can take out about 3 enemies if you're really good at aiming. Now I'll show some demonstration video on that real quick. As you can see, I'm shooting up a couple people in Crucible. Some of these shots, kind of body shots, but they do damage them greatly. Alright, now for the last upgrades, which is just damage upgrades, which gives it its max damage attack is 331. Well, that is it for the upgrades and everything for this weapon. To acquire this weapon, you're going to have to go through either the weekly Nightfall strikes and just kind of hope you get it that way, or you're going to have to go through the exotic bounty method. Alright, now let's talk about a little about the exotic bounty required to get the Thorn, shall we? The bounty is known as a light in the dark. And there's about 7 steps with some sub-steps you're going to have to do to acquire this. It's probably one of the most, only one part of this is very tasking, but it's, honestly, the weapon is worth it, in my personal opinion. Anyway, the first step is basically hitting the summoning pits on the moon. Basically the strike mission. You could do it either through the Vanguard Rock mission currently active, or just go straight to the moon and do it that way. Personally, I feel that's a lot easier. Anyway, after you completed the summoning pits on the moon, you're going to move on to step 2, which is basically earn 500 points by killing hive enemies on the moon. Best way to do this? The patrol mission. Why the patrol mission? Well, in the Hellmouth on the patrol mission is basically filled with nothing but hive. There's about a ton of hive majors, stuff like that. Lots of things you can kill. And it should only take about maybe 1 or 2 runs through there, depending on how thorough you are. But anyway, once you completed step 2, you're going to be moving on to step 3, which is a little bit of a pain, but not too bad. And that's basically kill guardians in the crucible with void damage. For this, it's probably best to have your secondary as well as your heavy to have void damage on it, and probably to make this even easier, have your guardian know avoid technique, like defender class for titans or voidwalker for warlocks. Now the point system goes up like this. Every kill gives you about 5 points. Every death makes you lose about 2 points. But once you finish step 3, you move on to step 4, which is very simple. You go to the tower, you talk to the speaker, and he's going to trade you an infusion of blight for 1 multi blight. Multi blights can be acquired through many means, such as engrams, missions through Eris, or just leveling up after you reach level 20. Now, once you're done talking to the speaker, you're going to talk to another person in the tower, and that's Ikora Ray. She is down by the representatives of the Vanguards. The Vanguard representatives, I mean, sorry. That means the Warlock, the Hunter, and the Titan people around the desk in this room. Once you finish talking to her, she's going to request that you kill a Pacific Wizard. That's going to be back on the summoning pits, but it's going to be a bit different. First off, the wizard's name you're going to be killing is known as Xyler the Unwed. And you're going to get a custom summoning pits. When you click on the moon, you'll notice that there's a second strike that's called the summoning pits. This one is set to level 26 and has the epic modifier on, which makes this a very difficult thing to do. Now, one of the issues you have with this one is definitely the fact that you can't kill Fogoth. You had to attack him to trigger it, but unfortunately you can't kill him until you kill Xyler the Unwed, which only pops up on the 3rd tombstone ship that pops in. Now, once you kill her, which she is a real pain, you're going to be moving on to talk to the speaker again. And then you're going to claim your reward, and voila, there you go. You have the Thorn hand cannon in your possession. It is a bit of a task, but like I said, this weapon is definitely worth it for the amount of power it has. Well, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time on my next review video. Have a good time, everyone.